Hello, beautiful, amazing, fantastic world, and you, wonderful, wonderful individual you. Today, I would like to speak about taking one step at a time, moving forward inch by inch, to put aside being in a hurry, and to truly take in life, take in the present moment, allowing oneself to work upon oneself over a long period of time. Now, this is also, of course, both a science and an art in a sense, because it is about maneuvering and orienting oneself in all of this turmoil. So, to not be pushed by anything or anyone except for the higher worlds and what is prompted, and also to discern what is healthy for us and to not take every impulse and move by them, but to truly listen a little bit and to discern what is the healthiest way forward. For when I speak about health, I speak about soul spiritual health, which will reflect in our bodies. It will reflect in our physical form, especially when you actively, consciously do this work. It is the same as I mentioned in my last video on the opposite way, but it is only if we are consciously working in it. Think about that. Are you consciously working in love, compassion, understanding, or in the lower astral? I don't wish to go too deep into that. For it is all about our preference and our interests, right? So if our preference is chaos, if our preference is, well, disorder, and what's the other word? Turmoil, then that will of course be our standard. If we wish for a certain amount of calmness, harmony, inner understanding, and silence, that is something we need to strive for it's not something that is given to us by anyone except our practices. It is something that also is very much worth cultivating, inner ability to focus, attention, listening. It is an ability that needs to be trained. It is not something you are given by birth. It's not something you are ranked by based on your genes or whatever. No. We constantly change. We are never static, which means everything we take in, we change with us in a sense. So if we are actively working on ourselves for 7 years, our whole physical being has changed. For 7 years is what it takes for every cell in our body to having been changed out. But we are still the same individual. There is a reason why we don't become a lamb when we eat lamb, or we don't become a pig when we eat. You get my drift here. We have a wise and divine architect of our form in a sense, our etheric body, life formative forces, which the hierarchy and the constellations or the higher hierarchy is helping us building. Now, by taking in these impulses and forces step by step, being patient, for these beings are eternal. They have all the time in the world in a sense, and so do we to a certain extent. It is about not being in a hurry, for that is when we can make, silly mistakes that could have been avoided if we were a little calmer and clearer in our thinking, feeling, and will. Now, of course, it is all about the interest. That is the magic word here. The interest is what we feed our soul and spirit. Our interest also shapes our being. And the higher worlds, they are very intentional in us being flexible and versatile in where we focus and study in the world, as I have mentioned. It is about us becoming as mobile in our attention and focus as we would with our physical body, with our hands, it is about using it more or less as a faculty for perception. It is a sense organ in a sense, and we can sense a variety of things through them, but it is about becoming conscious of it over time. Now, step by step, inch by inch, for slow and steady wins the race. The quicker you move, the easier it is to become distracted, to become arrogant, to become, prideful. And there is a reason why the tortoise and the hare is a story. The tortoise have all the time and the patience and the focus he needs. The hare moves from one association from another association and quickly come to forget himself in anything and everything, in a sense. It is about staying focused, having chosen a path that you yourself have in freedom taken a step to focus on in consciousness. And if it is of a healthy and valuable force to humanity and to the world, or if it is purely egotistical without any concept of empathy or compassion for others. It would be enormously difficult to live in such a world, you see, for no one would trust anyone, and we will not be able to cooperate in any meaningful way because we will only live on the shallow surface level of each other. Now, the depth is what's important here, for the more deep we go in within ourselves, the deeper we see others, and, well, it is important to get to know oneself. That is the first freaking step. When you get to know yourself and you get to know others through it, that is where you have responsibility. You never misuse it. Unless, of course, you want, as I love to call it, the proverbial foot up your butt. The karma, which is intensely more increased the more we are developed. The further up we go, the higher and more advanced the adversary forces. And they also become more difficult to handle. So it is important to always stick to the principles and to the 7 virtues: justice or karma, judgment or discernment, courage or fortitude, carefulness or prudence, faith, love, and hope. These 7 are the building blocks of truly the esoteric practices. It is literally building stones, foundations for our gaining of knowledge. For every step of development we go through 3 steps of moral character. For we need to keep up with what we are cultivating and what we are putting out into the world. For if we don't, well, the destructive forces will become more than our morality can handle, and the temptation will become too high. That is why we are steady and stable and calm. Getting to know yourself and the silence and the presence a little bit. It is about facing that unknown. And also knowing that that unknown has love. That unknown there is hope there. There is not only darkness. Yes, it might seem like darkness at first when you face it, the void. But it is about facing up to it. And then, thereafter, coming to know the esoteric practices. And that is something we all individually find out about, and especially through experiences. And then building up our knowledge base and understanding and cognition, comprehension of esoteric science. That is when we truly can put the puzzle pieces together and you gain a confidence in life. You get a certain understanding of life instead of scratching your head, It is about taking that step by step. And it is a wonderful journey. It is a wondrous and awe-inspiring journey despite its many horrors and terrors and fears that we constantly face up to. For this is what strengthens our good. If we didn't have the opposite, we wouldn't know what to cultivate. Because everything would just be straight upward, straight forward. We would be like a hollow straw and the wind blows right through it and we wouldn't feel the wind at all. But if we were, a stalk without a hole in it, we would feel and be swayed by this. We come up against something. This is what brings us awareness of self. And it is wonderful. Cultivating the individual, but also in relation to humanity and the moral, the good, the true, and the beautiful. Interest. The word interest, the magical word of interest. And I think I will leave you with this today. So, thank you so much for listening to me as always, my beautiful sibling. May you be protected, guided, blessed, and loved by Father, Holy Spirit, Christ, Michael, ancient masters of all, ancestors from every incarnation. And may you be provided for with all that you need to survive, live, thrive, being creative and inspirational, and healing to the world, so others can choose to follow when the time is right and the courage is at its most high. And may you be safe and sound. Thank you so much. See you. Love you. Goodbye.